today with AJ, it was tough, man, because it was over some little stuff and he was just letting it get the better of him. So that was like,
that's good.
Huge.
That's a big deal.
Huge win.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's something to put in the diary.
Buenos dias and good afternoon.
Welcome to the Diff Family Vlog.
I think that's like the first time in like months that she's like said anything on the vlog.
Me to say anything.
Well, you remember when she was ducking out of the... Just say hi. In light of today's occurrences with him, we're gonna have a little dad time. So this is the first time I've cut somebody else's hair in a few years. The last guy stopped letting me. Your son is now how old?
21.
What is the youngest age that you remember him in, or even for your daughter, kind of getting into it?
I remember Tyler would have been 8, maybe 8 years old, and he was not obeying. I would tell him to do something and he would just question it and then possibly not do it, and then or do it and whine about it, or there's just a lot of attitude that came with it. So I had him get on his knees and put his nose against the wall and keep his nose touching the wall for a couple minutes at a time as a bit of a punishment. And even outside, I'd have him get on his knees and put his nose against the bumper of the car or something. And it was kind of a turning point because he was at that age where if I had let him keep going down the path of just getting away with whatever he wanted, I feel like he would have. And so we kind of put a squash to that pretty quick. Wendy was not a big fan of it, but I was, and it worked. He was very much testing and he was wanting to see what he'd get away with, and as a parent you really have to pick your battles. Oh yeah, he remembers it well. It depends on when you asked him. When you asked him when he was about 18, he'd say that was the worst punishment, it was stupid, it was this and that. But recently, as he's growing older and maturing, he realizes that it was the right thing to do. We actually talked about that specific thing, and he knows it was something that I needed to do. He probably doesn't believe that it needed to be that extreme, but I knew it was a turning point for him in his life, and I knew that if I didn't stop it there, it was going to cause problems for us and possibly for him with his friends and at school and things like that. So
when you spanked Kelsey, did she squeal?
she cried, yes, she cried. She cried. Wendy cried. Auntie Wendy cried.
You can say, well, we can forego this or we can handle it differently, but it's like you have to establish something like a rule of law.
Yeah, there's certain things you can just let go. Certain things are just normal kid behavior when they break something or whatever, but you have to pick your battles, and when you pick that battle, you can't waver. You have to go all in, even if it means, you know, disrupting your free time or disrupting your life. I mean, as a dad and as a very goofy, fun dad, I want to be their friend.
Very goofy.
Minorly goofy. I like to be their friend, but you know, at the same time, I have to be their dad, and you have to be their dad first. Sometimes it's hard because you feel like you're good friends with your kids, and then all of a sudden, you have to punish them, or you have to have that talk with them to get them back in the right path. You can't let it go. If you tell them not to do something, they do it. You have to punish it.
It's that rule of consistency. And apparently, this is where the interviewee becomes the interviewer.
So for you, we talked about consistency. What's one of the hardest things with consistency?
It's easy for me to be consistent in the sense of this is what I said, so this is what's gonna happen. The struggle that I find is being consistent that when I get home, if they're acting a certain way, like if they're acting a certain way, the time that I have with them, I'm being consistent, but that's the only time that I get with them. I get home, they're acting a certain way, pressing the luck.
No whammy, stop!
Stop it, oh.
Now I come in, I'm the heavy hand, and that's all they see. The tension of that just not being everything. Today with AJ, it was tough. It was over some little stuff, and he was just letting it get the better of him.
The consistency thing is hard though, especially being gone all day long. It's one of those things that you have to do. If you don't do it, you're making your life harder, and you're making the kids not as good of people as they could be.
it just comes back to the fact that it's not easy to be a parent.
To do it right, you have to be very patient.
And there it is.
Beautiful.
If you have any stories about when you and your parents got into it, or you and your kids, and how all that has worked out and is working out, or still needs to work out, let me know down in the comments below. When you first start to have kids, I think that the focus is on wanting to hold them, the enjoyment that you have, what are they going to become, but then you soon realize that being a parent is an investment. It's an investment of time, an investment of certainly money, but investment of emotions. And as the kids get older, you start to see the returns on those investments, and you see that it was all worth it. Thanks, Uncle Randy. We left it as, when you're done acting this way, you can get down and then go hang out with Uncle and Auntie. But the beautiful thing is that at the end, he gets done with it. First thing he does is he gets down and he comes over to me and he asks me to forgive him. So we're out on the walk, me and Kelly, and I go, did you say, hey, that would be a good idea? She's like, no, I didn't do anything.
I want to be recorded.
We all better now? Me and you? Hey, you know what? I'm really proud of you, okay? I really mean it, because nobody told you you had to do that. And you know what that does between me and you?
What?
That makes our relationship better, right? Because when we have issues, it's not good to have it not resolved, right? Proud.